All right, I promised you an update on the E36. The E3 guys couldn't make it up. I guess COVID's rampant in the world again. So a couple of the guys were out sick, and so we're going to push it till I get back from the mountains. And I don't want to wait another month to show you updates. I haven't showed you the interior and the stereo and where I'm at with this. So the car. The car's like 90% of the way there. I'm going to sort of take you through, try to jog my memory of all the things we've done to this thing. This has been a much slower project, waiting on suspension, waiting on wheels, waiting on parts, things like that. And it took several months to get the interior done because we did a pretty elaborate project to it. But I wanted to take you around the car, tell you what we've done, talk about where I'm at and where we're going to get it finished, to get it on the road. It is drivable, but I still have never gotten it aligned. So we really need to get the suspension done so I can get this thing on the road and enjoy it. So the first thing we did on the exterior is I ended up needed to paint several things. So the trunk, this fender was blended, the spoiler was painted. We painted this fender because there was already some sort of repaint. We think maybe it was something done at the delivery center. I'm not sure though. So this fender was painted. We repainted it, and then I painted the front clip. So I painted the hood, I painted the fenders, and so that's all been done, but the car hasn't been finished, so it hasn't been polished yet. I did the smart thing this time, and I waited. I'm going to wait till I'm done with doing the suspension, and we did all the parts in the engine bay. I was going to wait to get that done before I do the final polishing. And I'm working on something that, I'm not good at keeping secrets, but what I'm hoping to do is to do another episode or 2 episodes of Chronicle of a Master. Andy Ward, who's Proficient X, and Jason Kilmer, who's generally regarded as the best wet sander in the world, and best finisher in the world. So we're going to have those guys come back here, and we're going to shoot a series on us, dialing this car in and really, perfecting the paint that we have here. And because I've had a bunch of stuff painted, we'll be a little bit more aggressive on getting all the scratches and imperfections out of the surface. I know right now you're saying, Matt, this looks great. On camera, this purple, it can be swirled city and looks fantastic. But in person, even in person, it looks pretty good. But if you look closely, the whole roof is all scratched and swirled out. So we're going to do that. Plus, the painted surfaces need, there's some pigtails and some stuff from some of the sanding that's pretty typical of paint work that like Jose did all the blending and all the painting on the thing, but it needs to be finished out so the rest of the car so it all looks similar. So we might be doing a series on that. So then after the paint and all that stuff was done, we did all the window stuff. So we replaced the window trim. This car has 36,000 miles on it. It hasn't driven. Most of those 36,000 miles are probably really early in its life. This is a 96. But these cars, even though it was really well maintained and really well cared for, I think fires right up. The BMWs this generation gets real melty, so this all dry rots out whether it's cared for or not. So the interior trim here is new. This is new. This is new. I am going to buy a new because I did mess this part up. So I'm going to buy a new door trim. This is new trim for the door handle. These actually didn't need to be replaced. They were dry ice clean, so they worked out nicely. So all the window trims, we'll get into the interior in a minute, have been fixed and redone. And then of course the entire underside of the car, we'll show you that in a second. We'll get some lights out and show you underneath. But the entire fender we took the fender liners out, the fender wells, the entire underside of the car has all been dry ice cleaned by Scott Ailes, the Dryce man. New wiper blade arms, new wiper blades, new headlights. So I did these are the Euro lights. So these are the Bosch style Euro projectors, glass headlights, and they have like a black tint to them. They look freaking fantastic. This was all repainted. These I had repainted. I haven't put the emblem on yet because again we're going to polish, and this whole front clip has been painted as well. New front lip spoiler, the little chin spoiler is new as well. And then I think these were new. I think I bought these separately because they had the wrong size on there. So these are new. I do have clear corners and side turn signals. I have them in the attic or in my storage unit, my air conditioned storage unit in case I ever wanted them. But they're this is something I'm probably not going to put on the car. I'm probably going to leave it amber. Let's look under the hood. This is where a big chunk of the project was. So Eb came up, who's a E36 whisperer. Eb came up and spent, I think he spent probably what, 4 days on this, 4 or 5 days, getting this all set up. Where I did a new whatever that thing's called, the insulator shield, Dynon strut tower brace. So we have the what's this radiator? Zionsville radiator. We did all these hoses are all new. Dynon intake. I had to relocate the alarm, the factory alarm system. So we relocated that in order to fit the Zionsville cooling system. We did new power steering. All the power steering stuff has been replaced. All the things that get melty that could be problematic are done. I will do the M50. I'll do the M50 intake and the cruise control delete. We'll do that at a later date or later project. The car has a Dynon tune, which I don't think does a whole heck of a lot, but you can see the engine bay super clean. Doing all of the preventative stuff to the car really, I think, makes it great. There's all the controversy of Dynon gate here. We did have to cut and just trim one bracket off in order to fit this. This is not supposed to fit, or doesn't fit without some modification with the Bosch style Euro headlights. Even Dynon says you can't do it. Well, it works, fits great. We got a smaller filter, so a smaller filter down here in the edge, so that we didn't have to crumple the filter to get it all to fit. So everything works out great. That BMW guy who I guess he wrote us off, Brett Raymond, gave me some good tips on how to get this to fit. But Eb did a fantastic job on setting up. We have the ZHP steering rack from, what is that from? From the Z3?
Yeah, it's from 330 ZHP.
A 330 ZHP steering rack to change the steering ratio. And then what every good over modifier does is I bought 2 suspensions. One was to hold me over. I just never actually set it up. I wish I did. But what's on here now is the TC Klein set, the Coney TC Klein suspension, which I never got aligned. Actually, let's put the car up in the air and I'll show you what that looks like. So while we're at this level, these are, what are they, 323? I think it's a 323 millimeter. Is it 332? Yeah, 332 and like 323 in the rear, I think is what it is.
328 in the rear.
Yeah, 328 rear, 332 front. This is the basically the Brembo GT kit for this car. I did find these are the sort of the lightweight version without these aren't actual lightweights, but it's the same wheel as what the lightweight car had. And so I found these brand new. They were available on ECS. Sometimes ECS will get them in, and so I got this brand new set. This is coated, mounted, road force balanced, set up with some PS4S's. I'll show you the wheels that are planning to go on this, but I did. These are the IND. These are the floating center caps as well. I do have my friends at Racing are making me some titanium studs for this, which will be sick. And we're going to be putting these little bros on here is the plan, if we can get them to fit. So these are E37s, which is the 17-inch version of what normally you'd call an E88. So these wheels will be going on the car. and that logo just has a sticker on it, or the center cap. But these will be going on the car if we can get them to fit, which I think we will. We're gonna have to do some modifying, some trickery with the suspension, and maybe some hub extenders and stuff like that. But I just casually, I'm living this darn dream where I have a casual set of probably, so these are Slicer spec. So Slicer made these for me. He says these are the only ones in the country of this size, the way that we set up the pocket. So the face can be mounted multiple ways. So we have it reverse mount with the lug pockets set up the way that they are. So oftentimes it's the way that they mount the three-piece, you can mount it and set it up in multiple configurations. So I like this more finished configuration where you have a traditional lug pocket like you would on a normal BMW OE wheel, and then the BBS center caps. Unfortunately, those floating center caps, they don't fit. They're just a little bit too big. They don't fit, so I'll have to use the BBS center caps. But I'll have these wheels to rock whenever I want to, and then we'll have to set up camber, a little hub extension, maybe a little fender roll in the wheel in the rear in order to get the E37s on there. But once we get it set up, I think it'll work great. So let's go the rest of the way up. But that's a big change, having brand new wheels and tires makes the car super, super clean looking. Let me just grab a light and I'll show you the frickin' amazingness of. Oh, this light's toast too. It's done. So right now this has a MagnaFlow exhaust on it. Is it Borla or MagnaFlow? Borla. Sorry, it has Borla. It sounds incredible. So I don't know if I don't want to mess it up. Doing headers and mid-pipe really doesn't do much for this car, so I think I'm going to leave it alone. We'll see how long that lasts, but just look at how clean this thing is. I always show everybody when they look at this, the brake lines. You would think that we replaced this, but that's what dry ice can do, get all the cosmoline and dirt, and Scott cleaned all the exhaust all up with the, what's that stuff called, OSFO, and quadruple aught steel wool, and everything under here is clean, new looking. So we have, Goodrich brake lines. You can see the conies. The Coney yellows are part of the TC Klein kit. I have the Turner rear and front and rear sway bars installed, and you can see all the steering rack stuff done. We did the OE X brace as well. Again, new. Who's the steering rack guy? The Rack Doctor. So this is a Rack Doctor ZHP steering rack. I replaced most of the bushings. Some of the bushings I really didn't need to mess with, but I replaced any bushing that needed to be replaced. But you can see all the zinc bolts look, basically brand new. I must have been braking hard there. I didn't think I was. Steel brakes, not my favorite. But the Turner sway bars are cool. Now, I do have a couple of parts that are going to go on here. This is going to blow your face off. But this is what's going on here. So again, I put the TC Kleins on, but I had ordered these. That makes me happy. So these are Barry Battle from 3DM Motorsport. These are 3DM spec'd valves for the street, set up for the street. The spring rate's chosen for the street, but a full race suspension. So these are Öhlins TTX that are going on this car. I just got them. So these are the rear collars for the rear spring, and here's the rear shock. Look at that. So these are set up, and I actually just put this set up, the same suspension, on my E92, and it's incredible. So that is going to be transforming the car. And so we put the TC Kleins on, and the car is, this misaligned. And so right after we put the TC Kleins on, then we were doing the paint, and then after the paint, then it went for the interior, which I'll show you in a minute. But I just never got an alignment done, so I really haven't been able to drive the car much. I've driven it, maybe 50 miles or something like that, because probably, lots of the toes out and stuff like that. The other thing I'm going to do once I do this is I do have adjustable sway bar end links on here already, and then I bought the Turner. I guess these are the rear. What are these called? The toe arms. Yeah, these are the rear toe arms, camber arms. So we'll put these puppies on there as well. And then when I was doing the brakes, I think I nicked. I forget which bushing I nicked. But I do have another, I do have a new set of bushings that I'm going to put on. I think that's the top knuckle. When I was doing the suspension, I nicked it and jacked it up, so I've got to fix that. So we'll do that. And then we'll do the same black painted. These are the black painted I&D BMW emblems that'll go on the car. I'm just waiting to finish polishing. So what they do is they just paint that exterior line so it's not chrome. It seems so subtle. It's such an expensive thing to do, but it's what I think it makes a big difference. And then these are the hub spacers that we're going to use. So this, basically pops into the current hub, extends the hub out, so I can run I'm probably going to need to run a 3mm spacer. And so this will extend the hub out so the spacer can sit on here, and actually it'll sit like that. So you'll still have enough hub for the wheel to attach to, so we won't end up with vibration. So we'll be doing that as well on the car here shortly. Once let me make sure I do have those adjustable sway bar end links on here. I think I know I ordered them. Yeah, so I have the Turner adjustable end links, so we'll be able to adjust those lengthwise, depending on the where the Olin sits. So let's take a look at the interior. I think that's it for the exterior. The suspension's going to be. So if I can get those wheels to fit and the suspension, it's going to be insane. I'm going to have to buy probably 4 or 5 sets of tires to see what works. Luckily, I have my own mounting and balancing machine now, which makes these projects a little bit easier to do, but look at how cool that is. I wish I could get that to fit on those E37s. That would be the ultimate. Have the BMW floating center cap. I bought those by accident. I thought it was some kind of cheesy, goofy thing. It turns out I love them. I buy them for all my BMWs now. So then the interior. The interior. This was a huge project. So I was able to find door cards. So I found a set of new door cards. ECS does have them. Turner has them occasionally. They were like $500 a piece or something like that. But the door cards don't have the proper whatever you call it, the proper M-Cross, the proper fabric. It's funny, this car, no one would have wanted this M-Cross back in the day, but now this is like the desirable spec. And so this was all done by E3 Customs down in South Florida, in West Palm area. So they took the door cards, modified them. Because we were going to have to, put the factory stereo, I was going to do BAV sound, we're going to have to do some modification. I decided to have Chris from Third Garage just do a stereo. And it turned into, I was going to do BAV sound to, I think we have a $13,000 stereo in this thing. So we have Morel soft dome. I wanted Dyne Audio, but Dyne Audio wouldn't fit in the doors. They're just too big. And so we have a Morel, I think it's a 5 1/4 in the kick, the 3-inch and 1-inch tweeter in the door. So that's been done. And then we did the Porsche Classic head unit, which really looks cool. So I have full Apple CarPlay, full capability. This is my subwoofer volume control. This is turned into my volume control there for the subwoofer. And so I have a pretty inconspicuous 90s style stereo in this car. I didn't want to do like pods or anything like that in it, so I didn't want to do anything crazy. These Vader seats are great. Let me show you. I'll sit in the driver's seat here. The problem with the Vaders, so these Vaders are beautiful. I'm going to bubble wrap these and put them in my air-conditioned storage unit that I now have. I've turned into a car parts hoarder. But the problem is my head is touching, because of the sunroof, my head touches the ceiling. and you can't put it any lower than this. So Wob and I came up with this idea, let's get some Recaros, but we don't want to do Sportsters because Sportsters don't get you a whole heck of a lot of room, and Sportsters just don't fit this. They didn't have those back then. So we're doing Recaro Speeds, basically the same seats I had put in my Civic, and I had them refinished with the M-Cross and then the Anthracite Alcantara. So we'll take these Vaders. No, I'm not selling them. They're going to go in a bubble, and we're going to wrap them, mummify them, put them in the air-conditioned storage unit and have them sit there. So they're going to stay there, and I'm going to leave them and keep them in case, in case they're worth $1 million someday. We dealt with the sag, did a new glove box. This also has, hear that? This has the UUC short shifter setup, which I think is the best one for this car. The ZHP shift knob. And then, I forget what company does these.
Kobe.
Yeah, so we did, the Kobe does this, the tri-stitched setup for the e-brake. And the shift boot, so that's set up there, and then again the Porsche Classic head unit. I actually like this steering wheel the best. I don't like the other steering wheel option, so I'm going to leave this one alone. It has Racing Dynamics pedals, which I think I'm going to leave alone, so we'll just leave those on there. I was able to find floor mats. I've hoarded. I've got 3 sets. I did new, whatever these things are called. Again, I'm going to get this. I tore it on the other side. This needs to be replaced. So E3 did the door cards, which look awesome. We got full Alcantara headliner. They repaired and set up and fixed the sunroof. So this is repaired and perfect, back to fresh. They did the rear deck. They also sourced me some new door cards for the rear. So the rear door cards are also new with the M-Cross. And then, like I said, when we do the Recaros in here, this interior is beautiful, fantastic. Not too shabby. It only cost me 12, I have no idea. $20,000 with the seats, I have no idea. A lot of monies. I think I'm 130-ish, we'll have to ask Chris, 130 or 140,000 into this car. And so this here will be done here shortly. So the reason why I went crazy on the stereos, we have a Moscone 1 processor and the big Moscone amplifier here. Chris is building me a template, or was templating this out. There's an evap coil that I didn't want to relocate underneath here, and so we were going to do a downfiring box, but then I just decided this is a 90s car. In the 90s, you'd have your subwoofer sitting in the middle of the trunk. And this is an Illusion Audio. These subwoofers are awesome. I had an Illusion Audio in my Civic Si. You have the Diamond Strut Tower brace, and so I'm never going to use this trunk to haul anything. And so he's making me not a false floor, but like a piece of carpeted, so the subwoofer will go over top of the carpeted piece there and look all nice and pretty where it'll all be one level. So he was bringing that up to me yesterday, but then he got COVID, or I don't know, got sick or something. So we'll be doing it here shortly. But I know some of you, this is going to make you angry, but I like it this way. This is super 90s. That's the plan. I did also get some Euro tail lights, which I think I'm going to leave the ambers alone, but I have those in the attic as well, in case I ever wanted to put them on. And I can't do this anymore, Mike. I don't like the silver. I got to get the black. OG E36. We'll do the black emblem badge here when we polish it. Get that set up. No, I like this one. I'm going to leave this one alone. I like this, and I like the stock front bumper, so I'm not going to do the lightweight stuff there. Here's the Dynon exhaust up top here, so I do have a brand new Dynon exhaust in case I want to. I'm going to put it on, see how it sounds versus the Borla. So I will put that on at some point here. But once we do the suspension, get the wheels set up, then my E36 is ready to rock. One of the guys from E3 will bring up my seats here shortly. We'll probably do that in August now when I get back from the mountains. But the amount of man hours into this car to get it to where it's at, we still have quite a few dozen hours to put into it is pretty remarkable, pretty incredible. To get, the nice thing about it, I've enjoyed this process more than I normally would because there was no like dire rush. This has kind of been the extra car. And now I'm ready to have it. I'm ready to drive it and see if it's something that stays or if I'm doing a giveaway on it. So the other thing I may do is if I love this, and I at first, the little bit of driving I've been doing, like I didn't like the E36 at all. This is pretty stockish, other than the suspension and the brakes. I like the way that this, I don't know, it just feels torquey. It feels good. Even the crappy US engine. It's not the Euro engine, so I imagine what the Euro engine feels like. I just think I think it's good. I think I'm really gonna like this car. It doesn't feel as old and dated, especially with the stereo in it now, as the Civic did. It feels a little bit small because of the way the seating position, so if I get the seating position right, we'll see. But I think I really like this. Unlike the E46 I just didn't like. We will do an E46 project, I can pretty much promise you that. I just wasn't ready for it. The E46 is a much bigger project than this car. Ripping the roof off and doing the subframe reinforcement and stuff like that. It's just much bigger than I was willing to do at this point. Way bigger than this. This is a lot of stick-on restorative stuff, but the E46 is more welding and cutting and stuff like that I wasn't ready to do. So that's the update. We'll get you some driving impressions and some exhaust clips and some audio stuff, and we'll shoot some videos of Chris and I tuning this thing when he comes up. When we do he'll bring his RTA up, and we'll sound cue test this and get it all set up. But and I'd love to do a worst case, I'm going to be doing a long format polishing series on this thing, but hopefully we can get Andy and Jason to come and share their skill set with us. And I need to get Martin to tint the windows, so we'll tint the windows at some point here. I was going to go light, but because this interior is so melty, I want to protect it. I spent a lot of money on it, so I think I'm going to do like darker tint with the heat rejection stuff on it. So anyway, E36 is coming together, and we'll assess it, and I'll let you know how it turns out, and I'll make decisions. That's the cool part about this. I don't need to make any decisions on this. I bought this for me. I didn't buy this for anything specific other than just to share the process of seeing about semi-restoring a car, finding a really good example and just making it great is, I think, what I'm cut out to do. So anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. I'll keep you up to date on the E36. It's gonna be awesome when it's done. See you soon.